YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be doing story time for the very first time, and I don't normally do story time, but today I think I'm gonna try to do something different. This story I'm gonna be talking about is very difficult for me to talk about. It's about me being molested by a friend of the family. And at the time, he was dating my sister, but I didn't know it. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and when this happened, this incident had happened. You guys excuse me sometimes if I pause, because like I ain't really never done nothing like this before, but I was 8 or 9 years old when this happened to me. I didn't tell anybody about it. I kept it to myself, and for 16 years I never told anybody. But I wanted to share my story with everybody, because I want to let people know that, you know, you're not alone. It happens to the best of us. There's some sick people out here who do things for whatever reason they do it for. But yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all about the story. It happened on a school day. One day my mother was, you know, running late to pick me up because she was somewhere doing something important, so she couldn't come get me. And so she told the person who she seen as a son, and called a son, and I seen him as, you know, my big brother, because I don't really have any brothers. So I'm not gonna say any names, but I'm pretty sure people know who it is. But like I said, my mom was running late, and she chose him to pick me up from school. And so he picked me up from school and took me home. And of course my grandfather, he wasn't there. He was out, I guess, with my mom or whatnot. So it was just me and him. So I had got in the house, and I decided, you know, I'm going to my room. And so, you know, I went in my room, and I was looking out the window, and on my bed, of course. And I say maybe like 30 or 5 minutes later, he came in there, and he was like, "Let me know if you need anything. I'm right in the living room." And everything was fine. And then he came back in there, and he sat on my bed, and everything was cool. He got to talking to me, and we were laughing and joking and stuff. And of course I had my blind was up, of course, and I had my curtains open. And he was like, "Girl, it's too bright in here. You need to close them blinds." And he got up and he closed my blinds. And I don't know why he did that, but something just, it didn't feel right. So I got up and I went in the living room, and I looked out the kitchen window, and I was like, "Where is my mom?" And he was like, "Oh, she should be here in minutes, and should be here soon. It's okay, it's okay. She coming, she gonna come home." And you know, I was waiting, and I waited and waited, and she never came. So I went back in my room, because he wasn't in there anymore. He had left. And I sat back on my bed and stuff. And then he came back in my room and he was playing with my hair. And I kind of, kind of moved my head like, don't touch my hair. Because I don't like when people touch my hair. So he got to talking again. And then he was talking and kept trying to mess with my hair and got to tickling me and stuff. And then, I kind of pushed away from him, kind of moved away from him or whatnot. And all of a sudden, he kissed me. And I kind of wiped it off. And I was like, don't kiss me. And then he made a move on me, which he touched me. And I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. And he stopped or whatever. He got up and he went in the living room and whatnot. And then he came back, and this time he decided to pull my leg or whatever. And I was like, what you pulling my leg for? And then he was like, your mom should be here. He kept saying my mom should be here any minute now. And I was waiting for my mom and she never came. And so this time he was rubbing on my leg, and as a child, I'm like, okay, this is not right. I don't know why he's doing this. And that's when he decided to touch my private down there. And from there he went farther and farther. He didn't stop until he heard, I guess, my mom at the door trying to open the door, and he ran out and into the living room. And I didn't say nothing because I was scared of what he might do, or what he might do to my family. And it wasn't the first time he had done it. It was like from that day he had did it, he kept it up. I didn't understand why he was doing this. I felt like, you hurt me once. What is it in your mind that's making you do this? So the next, the next time he seen me, I felt he would always get me alone. He would always get me alone for some reason, because he can't really do it around other people, so he would get me alone. And the second time it happened, this time I was at my sister's house, and I was in the basement with my best friend. And of course, my mother and my sister was not home. I guess they were uptown, and it was just me and my nephew. My nephew was upstairs with him by himself already. So when I had came upstairs, I had hot chocolate spilled on me, and I had went upstairs to change my clothes and whatnot, and he opened the door. And so I went to go get my clothes, and I went in the bathroom, and I had changed. And he came in there, and while I was changing my clothes, and he told my nephew, stay out there. So my nephew was very little, so he didn't know what was going on. And he came in the bathroom, and while I was taking off my clothes, trying to change out my clothes, he came in there, he He was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "You need to get out. You need to get out." So he got out. Then he came back in there. He sat on the toilet. And he was like, "Put your mouth on his penis." He wanted me to put my mouth on his penis. And I was like, "No. No." And he was like, "It's okay. It's okay for you to do it." And he made me put my mouth on his penis. And I felt like if I didn't do it, I would get in trouble, or he was gonna do something to my family if I didn't do it. So I had no choice but to do it. And I felt like I have to hide from him, because if I don't, he would do something to my family. I love my family, and I didn't want him to do nothing to my family. So whatever he asked me to do, I would do it. So he would leave me alone and leave my family alone. So after that happened, he let me go, and I ran downstairs. And I went downstairs, and I guess, you know, after a couple of hours, my sister and my mom was finally home. I knew I couldn't spend the night that night because it was a weekend. It was a weekend, and I think it was Sunday. So I had to go back upstairs. But, you know, he lived with my sister, so it kind of bothered me, because I'm like, when everybody's asleep, he's gonna touch me in my sleep, and it's not gonna feel right. It's gonna feel weird. So I tried to sleep with my mom every night on the couch or something, because our apartment was like 2-bedroom. That was it. My sister had one room, and my nephews had the other bedroom, which was bunk beds, and everybody slept 2 to a bunk. That's how we lived. So basically, I'm trying not to cry, as you can see. I'm trying to keep it all together, but you can hear it in my voice that I'm breaking. So anyways, when it came time for everybody to go to sleep, his routine would be to come out of my sister's room and find me, and to stick his fingers in me and put my hand on his penis, and he would take his hands and caress my boobs. And I tried not to cry or anything, but I would tell him, you know, please just leave me alone. Stop. Stop. I've heard stories that he has done this. I've heard stories that he has molested his child, his own daughter. And I've also heard stories that he done this to a next door neighbor, a girl who lived in my sister's building. I've also, you know, heard stories where he's had to go to court for his to get off of papers, something to close a case on his daughter or whatever, that he did not do this to his daughter. But you know what I'm saying. This person is a child molester to me, because if you can touch somebody who is a child and you're a grown man, you are considered a child molester. I never thought in my entire life that I would be one of those kids who would who would be molested. I live with this nightmare all the time, every night. There's times where I have flashbacks of this person touching me. It took me a long